you know, some of the Facebook posts said, this is amazing to me that people are accusing him of the very thing that's actually being done to him.
Mm-hmm.
This is absolutely, it's not fair.
Well, but I wouldn't say that it's not fair. And the reason, because I'm developing a positive slant on this. This is called life. Everything in life is fair game. Because you got to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly. You got to go through the ups and the downs. Out of 7 billion people, somebody's not going to like you. Now, it's a guarantee. Out of 7 billion people, there's somebody here that's not going to like you. And when people voice their disdain, when they voice their hatred for me, and he speaks evil about this one, and he speaks evil about this group, I speak the truth, that sin is not of God, and it's not right, and God didn't call us to sin. But as far as the people, no matter who you are, no matter who you love, I'm not going to bash you. I'm going to love on you, and I'm going to continue to show you the love, even if you never change. Because love is not love if it's conditional. And there's a song God gave me, what if people never change? Will you love them just the same? Have we really learned to love, just love? And we haven't. I preach every Sunday the same message, John 3:16. For God so loved the world. He didn't love the church. He loved the world. He didn't love the righteous because there are none righteous. He loved the world. He didn't love the holy because there are none holy, no, not one, the Bible said. He loved the world. Every one of these 7 billion people are important to God. And it's not for us as Christians to judge them, but it's our job to love them. We have to judge the good and the bad, but we can never judge a person whether they're going to heaven or hell. That's their choice. That's not our judgment. So we can't point at, you're on your way to hell. I don't know what the end of a man's going to be. And when you talk to people of same sex, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them saying, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this. And my job is not to change those who don't want to change, but for those who do, for those who come and say, hey, Donnie, how do I get out of this? I'm never going to turn them away. There's nothing that we have adopted or adapted in our lives. There's nothing that's been inculcated in us that the love of God, the will of God, the word of God, and the power of God cannot transform. Temptations and lusts from the past come back just like they did when I was involved in the mess. But the difference is now is something called grace. Grace. Grace is not just the unmerited favor of God. That we marginalize it, we minimize it. What is grace? The unmerited favor of God. But grace comes from the Greek word charis, where we get our word charisma. And charis means that you have the supernatural ability to do what you cannot do in the natural. In our flesh dwells no good thing. We don't have that power. But when you have the grace of God, he's a wonder in my soul. When you have the grace of God, there's an empowerment to look at the very thing that you were overcome by and overcome it now. To look at the very thing that hurt you before and sit back and say, it's of no consequence. God showed me. Read Ecclesiastes 3. And I read Ecclesiastes 3. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. Time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, time to pluck up that which is planted, time to gather stones, cast away stones. Then it said a time to love and a time to hate. And God had to correct me and let me know it's not who to hate, because you're to hate nobody. Right. But there are things that have come to destroy your life that you must develop a hatred for. When they rise up, and he's saying hateful words, my thing is prove it. Here's a video when you said that they were vampires. Watching that video, you will never hear me call the gay community, the young gay community, vampires at all. I said parents are not watching their children while they're on the computer. And while the parents are asleep, the children are sitting up like vampires to the wee hours of the morning on a computer, and you don't even know while you're fast asleep preparing for work. And they took and cherry-picked, and see, he called them vampires. Never would, never did, never have. And I will never be the spokesperson for the cause of the pastors to stand up and declare. You homosexual pastors, stand up and declare your deliverance, There's so many feelings that go along with this. There's feelings of humility when I see God change somebody because of my testimony. And there's feelings of frustration when I've got to deal with people who, in spite of my testimony, still believe that, you know, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. And then there's fear of being left to deal with this alone. Not everybody rallies. Hardly anybody rallies. You stand and you take the darts and the shots, and then people rub your back after you're bleeding. And, oh, you know, oh, don't worry, you just keep the faith. You just hold on. We're praying for you. We're right behind you. You really are. You are right behind me. And I don't need you behind me. I need you standing right here. I was angry that they had said something out that wasn't true, that I withdrew from the rally. I would never withdraw from anything civil rights. I was very good and very personal friends with Coretta Scott King for years. She came to one of my concerts in Atlanta. Her daughter Bernice, I'd never met Bernice, and they invited me down to Atlanta to do a concert. And I grabbed her hand, I kissed her hand, I bowed my head to her, I said, ma'am, this is like meeting royalty. And she said, well, it's nice to meet you, Reverend McClurkin. I said, just Donnie. She said, well, I respect you. So Bernice said, Donnie's going to be preaching at the church tomorrow that Bernice was going to. She said, well, young man, I'm going to tell you like I told my husband. Preach the word, and I'll be right there. And from that point on, I gave her my number. She would call. At the time, we had these little cassettes. We didn't have voicemail, as we know today. But she would call and leave a message on, Reverend McClurkin, I'm sorry. Donnie, you told me to call you that. This is Mrs. King. And just leave messages. Come sing at my family reunion. And God gave me the grace, the privilege, the honor of meeting one of the greatest pioneers in civil rights, Mrs. Coretta Scott King. Mrs. King had her views. Her views with civil rights are for everybody. Washington, D.C. is one of my major, if not the major, base for my music. And so the people knew that I would never just pull back, and they know my testimony, and they know good and well that this is something that I would never shy away from. So when they put that out, before they even told me I was uninvited,
Right.
It hit me. This is 2013. I've got social media. I didn't have this last time.
It's true.
I didn't have no social. Hold on. Hold on. I got 200,000 people following me on Twitter. Hold on. These are bully tactics simply because of stances that I took. Never ever demeaning, never ever derogatorily addressing any lifestyle. The next thing I know, over 200 tweets. And then on the social cam, I'm reading the response. Yeah, you stupid son of a, you're calling him your mother, you know, and I'm saying, whoa. And then another 200, you know, we're for you, Pastor McClurkin, how dare they do this? Let's march, you know, and I'm saying, no, wait, there's two extremes right now. Let's come to a middle ground. And then it just became a big, gigantic circus. And I went overseas and I said, I'm not going to do another American concert. I'm pulling back. I'm not fighting this fight anymore. Let somebody else come up and do this. Then when they told me to do this interview, everyone was saying, Donnie, we don't have to do this interview with CBN. And I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not, because I don't want to talk about this anymore. Made the mistake, I'm not going to cry, made the mistake of reading Jeremiah. And God just so happened, I'm reading chapter after chapter. I was supposed to be reading Isaiah. And I get to a chapter where Jeremiah got so tired of prophesying and the people not hearing and him crying over Israel that he said, I am not prophesying any longer. He said, and when I tried to hold back the word of God, it became like fire shut up in my bones. But Jeremiah was saying, it's painful that I have to preach this gospel. And I'm at the point now I don't have a choice. If there's somebody who can be helped, can hear the word, can be delivered, that's who I am. That's what he called me for in this time. And that's what I've got to do, regardless of the subject matter. If God calls you to be involved and let him speak through you, then you have no choice. And I'm at that point. I have no choice.